So alright, in today's video, I want to show you how I made my own version of memory using nothing more than a 3D printer and some airsoft pellets. With that said, when I say the word memory, yes, I mean as in like RAM. Essentially, for those that never seen an 8x8 grid of bits like this, it essentially adds up to 64 bytes in total. So as long as my text string is under 64 bytes, using some Huffman encoding, we can easily fit a pretty large amount of text into this little square. Now most videos you've seen online are people making 4-byte or 4-bit arrays of rope core memory, but there are people that have made 8x8 versions of rope core memory arrays as well. The only problem with those is it costs a lot to get ferrite beads. And honestly, an 8x8 grid, even though it can hold a fair amount of text, doesn't actually hold that much, and it's much better just to make something like this instead. Also, ferrite beads are a thing not really made anymore, so you kind of have to destroy something in order to make a real rope core memory based, memory. Or you gotta use the really large ferrite beads that they have for like powered electronics, but then you need to put more current through them in order to magnetize those, and I don't recommend it. But with that said, how does this exactly work? Well, this 8x8 grid, think of bytes as zeros and ones. In an 8x8 grid, you're able to hold either 64 ones or 64 zeros. In the particular case of the example in the B-roll here, it's probably 60 out of 64 bytes. All it says is testing square if you're wondering, and before you ask, yes, I made an encoding program and a decoding program. Essentially, you go into the encoding section, you type the text you want to encode, it tells you where to put the pellets, and once you want to decode it, you just read out the pellets into the computer, and it will then decode it back into text. I'm using Huffman encoding. Essentially, this takes commonly used letters, and instead of using the full uncompressed versions of it, so like an A or an E could be like 5 bytes, it essentially compresses it down to 2 or 3 and lets you get away with adding more text to this square. Only downside is it's kind of like an encoding method at the same time, so if you lose your key, de-encoding this is gonna be kind of challenging. Not to say it couldn't be done, it's probably easy enough to brute force, but it's better to keep the key on hand and not lose it. Speaking of encryption, I built it this way so that I can color some airsoft pellets in some UV paint or glow-in-the-dark paint. That way I can fill this whole square up and you honestly couldn't see a message unless certain conditions are met. I also had the idea of doing this another way, using polarization sheets. Essentially, I'd hole punch out some polarizers, put them all the same direction, glue them down, then put the top polarizer on top in the same direction. This would let you not see any of the bits that you've encoded into the square, at least until you turn the top polarizer to show your bits. Some other ways I thought of doing this was just getting microfilm and just compressing, I'm talking like hundreds of these ones and zeros down into that. That's another way people have done this before. But then that would need a microscope in order to get a clean picture to let the computer convert that back into, text again. And the positives of the 3D printed square here is I could just easily punch these airsoft pellets out and rewrite this as many times as I want. But with that said, I wrote the program for Python. However, there is a 386 qbasic version of this program for those of you that want to run it under DOS. They are 100% compatible with each other. I used the same key. This means if you generate a encrypted, square on the computer in Python, then you want to go and decode it under a 386 DOS machine, you could easily do that and vice versa. But with that said, before I leave today's video off, why did I start this project? Well, I've been working on a low temperature phase change mechanical calculator, and when I was messing with this, I decided to try to turn it into a binary counter instead, and looking at the print-in-place binary counters that I made, it really got me thinking about making core rope memory again. And while looking into that, I gave up and decided just to do a physical version, and that's what inspired this. Perhaps there might be some way to incorporate this into my low temperature phase change project. I'm not 100% sure, but if you have any ideas for that project or this one, let me know and we can collab and try to improve this and make things even better. But yeah, before I go and get the inevitable comment here, yes, it can in fact store Doom. Well, it can store the phrase "can it run Doom" on it. Yes, those words will fit on there. Making it actually run Doom is a different story. If you made 7 of these, however, you could probably run a very basic version of Snake, where you don't actually have a scoring system, or it can even grow the snake, which in its own right is still pretty cool. With that said, that's basically it for today's video. I hope you learned something new or perhaps found the video somewhat entertaining, but with that said, I'm leaving it off here now. DTPK signing off. Peace. Essentially, we're pretty much all ready to go when it comes to data moshing our clips. So what we can do now, I'll also have a 3D printed enclosure. If you're using the standard sized, full-size proto board.